My name is Victoria Winters. I have just lived through the most terrifying hour of my life. I have learnt the identity of a murderer, and he has attempted to kill me. I would not be alive now if someone hadn't interrupted him in the act of trying to murder me.
What is this? What's going on?
He's trying to kill me, Mrs.
Be quiet.
Matthew, let Miss Winters go. I said let Miss Winters go. Come here, Vicky.
Stoddard, he tried to kill me. He killed Bill Malloy, and he just tried to kill me.
Is that true?
It's true.
That you could kill anyone.
I didn't mean to kill Malloy. It was an accident.
An accident?
I was only trying to stop him from making trouble for you. I was trying to protect you.
Protect me? He was my friend.
He wasn't talking like a friend. A friend doesn't make trouble for a friend.
You overheard the conversation the night he came to the house.
Yeah, that's why I followed him after he left the house. I only wanted to tell him to leave you alone.
How did he fall from the cliff?
He lost his balance. He fell.
Lost his balance?
After I grabbed him. I shouldn't have done that. He pulled away from me, and that's when he slipped and fell. I didn't want to kill him. I didn't mean to kill him. You believe me, don't you, Miss Stoddard?
Yes, Matthew. I believe you.
I did it for you. I was only trying to protect you.
I understand.
You won't let anything happen to me, will you?
Be careful, he's dangerous.
Be quiet,
It's her
please.
fault that anybody ever had to find out.
Matthew.
She had to keep
Stay away
snooping.
from me.
It's her fault, Miss Stoddard. I didn't want to hurt her, but she forced me into it.
Listen to me, Matthew. Miss Winters isn't going to hurt you.
Go to the sheriff. She'll tell him everything she knows.
No, she won't. I won't let her.
You won't.
I won't let anything happen to you.
You promise?
Yes. You trust me, don't you?
You're the only person that's ever been good to me. I trust you.
Then you'll let me make the decisions.
As long as you stick to your promise.
Have I ever gone back on my word?
No. You're Collins. Collins doesn't do that.
Then believe me when I tell you you can trust me.
I believe you.
Good. Vicky, go to the house.
No! I trust you, but that doesn't mean I trust her. The minute she walked in the door, she'd phone for the sheriff.
No, I wouldn't.
No, she won't. Not if I tell her not to. Vicky.
Yes.
Go to the house, go straight to your room, and don't talk to anybody.
All right.
No, she's not leaving here. How are you going to keep her from telling what she knows?
We'll keep a watch over her.
We will.
We won't let her say a word to anybody.
You're really willing to help me?
We're friends, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, and you just said you trusted me.
A person has to trust somebody in this world. I wouldn't have much left if I couldn't trust you.
Well, then, you'll let me make the decisions. Vicky, we'll go to the house.
No!
Matthew, you just said you'd let me make the decision.
Not that one. You may trust her, but I don't. She's not leaving my sight.
All right, then. We'll all go to the main house together.
Why?
Because we have to talk, make plans.
Why can't we talk here?
Because I prefer to go to the main house.
Why, Miss Stoddard?
Oh, why does it matter?
Who's up there?
Just Mrs. Johnson and David.
That's all?
That's all. Come along, Matthew.
You're real anxious to get me back that house. Why?
I'm not anxious.
Who's up there? The sheriff? Did you call him to look for her?
No.
Bad that I ever stopped.
Matthew.
Never liked me before. You shouldn't have done it now. You shouldn't have done it.
Well, half of them are combing the beach, and the other half are looking in the woods.
Well, there are some caves at Mrs. Stoddard. Vicky!
Frank!
Vicky, where have you been? What happened?
Matthew, he tried to kill me.
Matthew, the caretaker?
I got there just in time. You better go after him, Sheriff.
Well, why did Matthew try to kill Miss Winters?
He was afraid of her.
Why?
He killed Bill Malloy. He thought that I knew.
He didn't mean to kill him. It was an accident.
He admitted that to you?
Yes.
Well, where is he now? Is he still on the property?
No, he ran out of the cottage. Vicky and I waited until we heard his car drive away. He's on the road somewhere.
His car? You mean the old station wagon?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to put out an alarm for his arrest.
Vicky, you look like you're ready to collapse.
I feel a little woozy.
Well, you better come and sit down.
Oh, Chris?
Can I get you something to drink, Vicky?
No, I'm all right.
I think you better have a sip of brandy. I'm going to have one, too.
You were wonderful, Mr. Stoddard. If it wasn't for you, I'd be dead.
How did you know where Vicky was?
I didn't. I didn't have the faintest idea.
I don't understand.
Something you said made me wonder.
Something I said?
When you asked me if I knew anyone who was loyal enough to me to kill for me, it made me think of Matthew.
If you suspected Matthew, why didn't you tell me? Why did you go down to his cottage alone?
I didn't suspect him. It was just a small doubt that I thought he could clear up. Instead,
He tried to kill me.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was possible.
Well, I posted the general alarm. The highway patrol is going to put a guard on every road leading out of here. I'm sure they're going to pick him up.
I hope so.
Miss Winters, I'm going to need a complete accounting of everything that happened to you from the time you left this house.
I went to the old house to see if I could find David. And Matthew tried to kill me.
How?
He pushed one of those big stone urns off the roof. It just missed me.
Well, did you see Matthew on the roof?
No, I looked up and I was scared to look for too long, and then I ran to his cottage.
Well, why did you go to his cottage? Why didn't you come back here?
Because it was the closest place. I didn't think that I'd be in danger.
Was Matthew in the cottage when you got there?
No, it was empty. I went to the phone to call you. And that's when he came in.
And what did he do?
He stopped me. He wouldn't let me use the phone. He wouldn't let me call you, and he wouldn't let me leave. He said he didn't want a lot of police there bothering Mrs. Stoddard.
Did you suspect him then?
No, not until later.
Later? What happened later?
He lied to me.
Lied? How?
We were talking about the car that almost ran me down. And he knew the exact time that it happened. Now, that couldn't have happened unless he had been driving that car. And that's when I guessed the truth.
And Matthew realized that you knew.
Yes, he guessed.
And what happened then?
Then he admitted everything. He said that he was the one who was responsible for all the things that had happened to me. And he also admitted that he'd killed Bill Malloy.
And then he tried again to kill you?
He tried to break my neck, and Mrs. Stoddard, I'd come in.
George, Vicky isn't in any condition to answer any more questions. I can tell you the rest.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I went to Matthew's cottage. I found Vicky and Matthew there. It looked as if he were trying to strangle her.
And then?
Then Vicky screamed and said Matthew had killed Bill Malloy and was now trying to kill her.
Well, what did you do?
I told him to let go of her, and he did.
And then?
Then he started to explain what happened the night that Bill was killed. It seemed that he and Bill got into a struggle on the top of the cliff. Bill slipped and was killed. He didn't mean to kill him. It was an accident.
Well, what were they struggling about?
They'd had an argument.
An argument? About what, did he say?
Yes. It was about me.
About you?
Matthew overheard a conversation between Bill and me. He thought Bill was going to make trouble for me.
What kind of trouble?
He didn't know. He just thought there was going to be some kind of trouble, and he wanted to protect me from it. In a way, I feel responsible.
Why should you?
Because none of this would have happened if Matthew hadn't been so loyal to me.
Don't blame yourself. You shouldn't.
After he confessed, did he try to harm you in any way?
No.
I thought for a minute he was going to. I thought he was going to kill her.
But he didn't. Instead, he ran out of the cottage.
Well, do you have any idea where he might have gone?
None whatsoever.
Well, does he have any friends or relatives who live in this area? People who might help him? People he might try to hide with?
I don't know. I know very little about Matthew's private life. He never talked about it.
Well, I guess I better go back to the cottage then and see if I can get some clue as to his whereabouts.
I'll go with you. That is, if you're all right, Vicky.
I'm fine.
You're still shaking.
I can't help it.
It'll take her a little while to get over the shock. I'll stay with her, Mrs. Stoddard. Vicky. Vicky, just remember, you're safe now.
I won't feel safe until they find him. Until he's caught, I'll still feel as though I'm in danger.
You know what we're going to do?
What?
We're going to get out of here. I'm going to drive you into town and buy you the biggest steak Collinsport has to offer. Are you agreeable?
It sounds very agreeable.
Okay, let's go.
Liz?
Hello, Roger.
Oh, it's you.
Hello, Mr. Collins.
Donna, what are you doing here?
Taking Vicky to dinner.
Have you heard what happened?
Yes, it was quite a shock, wasn't it? Where's my sister?
She's at Matthew's cottage with the sheriff.
Thank you.
Roger,
Yes, what is it?
I just want to say how very sorry I am for all the things that happened.
Sorry? Why should you be sorry? For assuming I'm a homicidal maniac? For putting me through the worst experience of my life? I think nothing of it, Vicky. It was nothing.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
I don't think you're being fair to Vicky, Mr. Collins.
Don't you? I do.
I feel awful.
Oh, why should you? Why should he get up on his high horse? You had every reason in the world to suspect him.
But Mrs. Stoddard's been so good to me. He is her brother. I accused him of killing me. It's almost like I betrayed her.
I'm sure Mrs. Stoddard doesn't look at it that way, Vicky.
I hope not.
You know what you're going to do? You're going to forget about Roger and the whole Collins family, and you're going to relax and have a good time and forget about everything that happened today.
That's a pretty tall order.
Well, just the same, you're going to do it.
Well, that sounds like a command.
It is.
All right, I'll try.
Oh, it's nice to see you smile.
It's nice to smile.
Well, shall we go?
Mm-hmm. I just want to leave a note for Mrs. Stoddard telling her where we are.
Okay.
You ever hear of Walter Morgan?
No.
Well, he seems to be his brother. He talks in the letter about some family property. He lives over in Coldwater, Maine.
You think Matthew's headed for Coldwater?
Well, it's certainly possible. I better call the highway patrol and have them put a double guard on all roads leading over there. Hello, Chris. George. Matthew Morgan has a brother living over in Coldwater. Yes, you better put a double guard on all roads leading over there. You have? Well, then that's probably where he's headed. Well, I'm going back to my office now. If you want me, call me there. And do call me as soon as you pick him up. Right.
What'd he say?
Well, he said that a car was spotted matching the description of Matthew's station wagon on Highway 105, and 105 heads right into Coldwater.
Is the car far from here?
Well, about 50 miles and going about 80 miles an hour. They're going to pick him up. Don't worry, though. They'll be sure to get him. Don't worry about that.
Well, efficiency from the local police force. That's a refreshing change.
Hello, Mr. Collins.
When did you get back, Roger?
A few minutes ago. It's taken all this while for the local constabulary to decide that I'm not an ex-murderer.
Mr. Collins, I'm sorry that you had to be detained.
Of course you're sorry, Sheriff. Everybody's sorry. Myself in particular.
Mrs. Stoddard, I'll be in touch with you. I'll let you know what's happening.
Thank you, George.
Was that thank you quite necessary? I was arrested, you know, and I am your brother.
Stop it, Roger. Do you know what's been happening?
Yes. It's quite a shock. Who would have thought that old Matthew was responsible for Malloy's death?
He did it for me, for us. He was trying to protect the family.
Well, at least he was loyal, whatever else he was guilty of. You can't say the same for certain others of the staff.
What are you talking about?
A certain little orphan governess, Miss Victoria Winters by name.
What about Vicky?
What about? Liz, it's her fault that I was arrested and publicly humiliated. I demand that you discharge her.
I'll do no such thing.
I don't understand you. Why do you defend her?
Vicky had perfectly good reasons for suspecting what she did. You brought it on yourself. You didn't have to hide evidence from the police and bury that pen.
I was trying to spare you the ordeal of an investigation.
You weren't thinking of yourself.
I was thinking of both of us. But that had nothing to do with Vicky.
Well, I'm not going to let her go, Roger. That's final.
All right. I give up. Not going to argue with you.
Good.
Well, at last that nightmare is over. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
I don't think that's quite true.
Why not?
Aren't you forgetting about Burke?
Burke? Of course I'm not forgetting about him. Won't he be disappointed when he learns that I had nothing to do with Malloy's death?
If I know Burke, he'll also be twice as determined to destroy us.
Well, I'm not afraid of Devlin anymore.
I'm not afraid of him either. But don't underestimate him. Burke will not stop until he's satisfied. Which means we must destroy him or be destroyed.
Thank you for dinner, Frank. Thank you for everything.
My pleasure. Feeling better?
Much.
Good.
It was nice to get out of the house for a few hours.
Say, listen, how about getting away for a weekend? How about coming to Bangor?
To Bangor?
Sure. I'll get you a room at the hotel, and you can relax and forget this whole ordeal. I'll show you around town. Maybe we can dig up some more about Betty Hanscom if you want. What do you say?
Well, I would like to get away.
Then say yes.
I'll try to arrange it.
Vicky. Hello, Frank.
Hello, Mrs. Stoddard. I'm glad you're up. I wanted to ask you a question.
What is it?
I was wondering if Vicky could have the weekend off. I'd like her to come to Bangor for a visit.
Well, if you'd like the weekend off, Vicky, you can certainly have it.
Well, I would.
Good, then it's all settled. I'll make the arrangements, and I'll call you tomorrow.
Fine.
I waited up for you, Vicky, because I wanted to tell you about Matthew. We've had news of him.
Have the police called him?
No, but he was spotted on the highway, 50 miles away from here, driving towards Coldwater.
Are they sure it was his car?
Yes. And he was headed away from Collinsport.
That makes me feel a lot better. I was afraid that he was somewhere nearby.
Yeah, it's a great relief for me, too. I feel better about leaving you now, knowing you're going to be safe.
You'd better go. Got that long ride back to the States to Bangor.
I'll phone you tomorrow.
All right. And thank you again. Thank you for everything.
For nothing. Good night, Mrs. Stoddard.
Good night, Frank. Vicky, I can't tell you how sorry I am for everything that's happened to you in the past few days.
You don't owe me any apology. I should apologize to you.
Why?
Well, for everything I've done to Roger, for going to the sheriff.
You had every reason in the world for going to the sheriff and suspecting Roger.
Well, he doesn't seem to think so.
Well, he's being unreasonable. Pay no attention to him, I won't.
You're very kind. It's also very kind of you to wait up for me.
Well, I wanted you to know about Matthew. I thought you'd have a better night's sleep.
I will. Feel a lot better knowing that he isn't in the vicinity.
Well, have nothing to be frightened of anymore. He's miles away from Collinsport.
You are pre-programmed for a week of sinister cyborgs, deadly droids, metallic monstrosities, angry automatons, and computerized killers. It's the Sci-Fi Channel's Robot Rampage. Begins Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Now stay tuned for Beauty and the Beast, next on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.